Going on, ladies and gentlemen? Luke Innes here. Been a while since I've done one of these. I apologise for that. I just don't really have time to make videos anymore so much. Probably going to be looking at sort of one a week from here on out, I'd say. Maybe two. It sort of depends on what I plan to do. But today I'm going to do a collection update video. Yeah, like I say, with the new job, I've just not got as much time to... I mean, the main thing is watch movies. I don't watch as many movies as I used to, which is a shame, obviously, because I love film. But, I mean, like I say, I don't really have time. That's the thing. I mean, I've got plenty of time to do the reviews. I just don't have the films to review as much. But I'm going to keep it up. I'm going to do my best to keep it up. Obviously, with the podcast as well, if I didn't have the podcast, I would do fucking loads of reviews all the time, probably, because that eats massively into my, film watching time. I mean, you take the length of each episode of the podcast and then sort of times it by, 2.5, and you've probably got how long I have to spend just on, making the episode and not the research or whatever that goes into it and the note taking and whatever. So that obviously eats a massive amount of my time, but I've got no intention of stopping the podcast. I've always made it clear that that's my main focus in this whole kind of content creating thing. But I mean, this channel will always be there, and like I say, I've gotten onto this kind of horror based thing, and I plan to continue with that. I'm wearing my work uniform at the moment, actually. I'm not wearing the complete thing, just the shirt still and the trousers. Obviously, I don't go to work looking like this. This is after a slightly dishevelled day of work. But yeah, no, I'm loving the new job. Thank you for asking. So yeah, let's get in with the DVDs, since that's what we're all here for. Okay, I'm going to move you around slightly. Sorry, I've decided to not spend as much time editing these as I used to, but... Anyway, the first up, House of the Dead. This is the Uwe Boll zombie movie based on the best-selling video game from Sega. Was it on the Dreamcast? I suppose it was an arcade game, really, House of the Dead. I think you probably would have got it on the Dreamcast, though. But yeah, the House of the Dead, I mean, I haven't watched this yet. I've heard it's terrible. Maybe I'll update you on the situation once I've actually seen it. This is an ex-rental. But yeah, House of the Dead. It's a shitty zombie movie, from what I can gather. I always really liked the game, though, in the arcades and stuff. When I used to go on holiday to Bognor Regis, used to play it in the arcades all the time, all the different iterations of it. I really like the one with the shotgun. Was that House of the Dead 3? But that was cool. Okay, so next up, House of Witchcraft. This is an Umberto Lenzi movie. It's one of those Beyond Terror DVDs. And the Beyond Terror DVDs, basically, they're Vipco discs. What I'm assuming happened is when Vipco went out of business, a whole lot of their stock was acquired by someone else, and they've released it on this Beyond Terror label. And I mean, they basically printed... I've had another one of these pass through my possession. I think it was Toolbox Murders. An old copy of Toolbox Murders I had that I don't have anymore was like this. And I mean, it's just the Vipco release with a really shitty printed cover. I mean, I can't really do it justice because of the quality of this camera, but the quality of the printing on these covers is shit. It's like printer paper, like laser printed printer paper. It's like a step above that. But yeah, no, this is Beyond Terror's release of the House of Witchcraft. The film itself, I quite enjoyed. This is a TV movie, apparently, but I did quite enjoy it. It's basically like a mix of a haunted house movie, like kind of in the structure of a slasher movie, which I thought was kind of fun. The DVD itself, I got this... basically, this place that I volunteer at a service centre for people with mental health issues. It's a charity, and like I say, I'm a volunteer there. And they had a raffle for like their Christmas party, and at the end, a load of DVDs were left over, and they said go through the bag and take what you want. And this was one of the ones I took. There is another one that I'll talk about in a future update. But yeah, no, I quite enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, that's the House of Witchcraft. Next up, Husk, one of the After Dark originals. Now, I've picked up quite a few of these lately. This is the only one I've gotten on Blu-ray. Husk. All the case is a bit dinged up. This was quite a well-made film. It's a killer scarecrow movie. The spirit of this guy who was killed on the farm kind of moves from person to person. It's not a bad movie. I've got to say, it's a really, really well-made movie, but it is quite boring. I've got to say, it is very slow. It's 80 minutes long, so it's not like a massive investment of time. Just the story wasn't really that gripping, and it took a long time to get into things. I've got to say, it's very stylishly shot. Who's the director? Brett Simmons. He also wrote it. Brett Simmons is a really good visual director, but like overall, I would say that I don't like this movie. But yeah, no, it's okay. Like I say, it's just, you know, it was a pretty boring movie. I've got to be honest. I reviewed this one. I Know How Many Runs You Scored Last Summer. I'll leave a link in the description. Cricket-based slasher movie, really cheaply made, shot on DV. Yeah, Australian movie. It was an interesting one. Like I say, I've left a link to the review in the description, so check that one out if you're interested. Next up, I Know What You Did Last Summer. I haven't seen this in bloody ages. Oh look, there's my receipt from when I bought it. But yeah, I Know What You Did Last Summer, kind of post-Scream slasher movie. I think this was written by the guy who did Scream, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, baby. Oh, it's late. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like I say, cool movie. Well, I don't really remember. I remember it being cool. I will check it out again and maybe let you know what I think. Although that's not happening an awful lot lately. Next up, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. This one I haven't seen, although I've heard it's really shitty. I mean, I don't struggle to believe that. I mean, the first one is, you know, probably nowhere near as good as I remember it. So, but next up, this one's a bit more interesting. Last House on the Left. I hear you say, Luke, why have you bought that? You already have it, and that's true. I do. I have the uncut version from. Oh, who does that version? Oh, I can't remember. Fuck, is it like 101 or someone like that? But anyway, this is the old Anchor Bay version, and this is a 2-disc version. And the movie itself is actually cut by a few seconds. I think there's sort of 10 seconds or so cut out of it. So obviously that's entirely useless. But the extra features on this DVD are astounding, frankly. There's a whole featurette about the first theatrical showings of the movie in the UK. It's called Crude Conquers England. Yeah, it's all about the initial screening of the movie in the UK, which is cool. It's got a bunch of outtakes, some trailers, TV spots. There's an alternate cut as well. Yeah, the Krug and Company cut, which I may have to check out at some point just to compare. And then there's a documentary about the making of the movie, which is very interesting. Last House on the Left's a very interesting movie, more for its history than anything else, actually, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Last House on the Left. That's a cool little pickup just for the extra features, because like I say, the uncut version I've got is bare bones. It's just a movie, so it's nice to have that as well, and it only cost me £1. So you know, for all that, it's definitely worth it. Oh, fucking hell. I am tired. Let Me In. The remake of Let the Right One In. It's shit. Don't worry about it. It's basically a shot-for-shot remake. So it's good in that sense, that it's basically the same movie. But I mean, don't worry. Just get the original, watch the original, because that's a fantastic movie. Next up, Machete, obviously originated in the Grindhouse double bill that Tarantino and Rodriguez did of Planet Terror and Death Proof. This was one of the fake trailers. Much like Hobo with a Shotgun, it eventually got its own film. Directed by Robert Rodriguez. Pretty fun film. Basically a sort of action exploitation, mechsploitation movie. Obviously, if you remember the Spy Kids movies, Machete was a character in those. And yeah, he got his own movie. There's a second one as well, Machete Kills, which I haven't seen. And apparently there's plans for a third movie, but I don't know. Yeah, Machete's a pretty fun movie, I've got to say. It's definitely worth checking out. Just a movie about a guy who is trying to get revenge against a drug lord. It's a fun movie. Machete's worth checking out. If you're into that kind of throwback exploitation-y type stuff, I would definitely recommend checking out Machete. Mallrats, well, Mallrats it's pronounced in this country. But yeah, no, this is the Kevin Smith movie. This is the his second movie after Clerks. It's set the day before Clerks in the same universe. Obviously, Jay and Silent Bob are back. Set in a shopping mall, where a pair of guys who've just been dumped by their girlfriends kind of try to put together plans to get them back together, and Jay and Silent Bob get roped in. There's a TV show getting shot in the mall, and Jay and Silent Bob are kind of given the job of trying to sabotage that if they can. Mallrats is it's okay. It's nothing on Clerks, but then so few movies are. It's got a lot more kind of physical slapstick than Clerks, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but in this case it doesn't come off anywhere near as well. To be honest, the moments that are good about Mallrats are the ones where it feels like Clerks. That I've got to say, it doesn't feel right when it goes into the slapstick. Definitely the stuff that is more like Clerks is the better stuff in Mallrats. So we'll leave that one down there. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about seeing Mallrats unless you're like me and you really like Clerks. Memorial Day Killer. I reviewed this, link in the description. It wasn't very good, but it satiated me for an hour or so. Just a really fucking cheap slasher movie set on Memorial Day weekend, in which a kid got killed at the lake a couple of years earlier, and someone is in a mask taking revenge. I mean, it's like I say, it's whatever. It's a pretty shitty, cheap slasher movie. I did review it, link in the description. I reviewed this one as well, Mum and Dad. This is a British horror movie about a Polish immigrant who has a job as a cleaner at Heathrow. When she misses her bus home, her friend offers to take her back to her place so she can catch a lift with her dad. And they kidnap her, and she becomes a part of this kind of sick, perverted family. I would recommend checking it out. It's a very fun movie, very fucked up, twisted movie. Ooh. For fuck's sake. It's because I can see myself in the screen yawning, I keep doing it, because yawning's contagious. But yeah, Mum and Dad, fun movie, really cool. Kind of silly in places, but it's whatever. Check out Mum and Dad. Like I say, I've left a link to my review in the description, so you can gauge how you feel about that one. Next up, we have Gun Massacre from 88 Films Slasher Classics collection. I watched this for the first time the other night, and people kind of hailed this movie. I'll show you that's the reverse cover. I prefer the one that it comes as, though. People kind of hail this movie as one of those so bad it's good kind of things. But I just thought it was kind of so bad it was bad, personally. There was the odd moment. I mean, the killer in it has some fucking hilarious one-liners. The trouble is, a lot of the time, you can't actually understand them because there's so much affectation on the voice that it just becomes like a sort of droning sound. But when you can understand it, it is, they are some pretty funny one-liners. Well, you've just pissed me off and all that sort of thing. So yeah, the Gun Massacre. I didn't enjoy it that much. I thought about reviewing it, but I didn't really have much to say about it. It was just generally quite a bad film. But yeah, now Gun Massacre, that's whatever. I mean, I'll check out the bonus features probably. But yeah, no, that's a really cheap, shitty 80s slasher movie. It's whatever. Next up, The Neon Demon on Blu-ray. This movie, man, I've got to say, this is one crazy fucked up movie. Nicholas Winding Refn is one of few directors who has the kind of financial backing to make incredibly glossy and slick movies that also deal with incredibly fucked up shit. And this movie does just that. I know a lot of people didn't like this movie. I thought it was really good. It made my top 5 films of the year. When we did the Ironcast During review, I listed my top 5 films. This was on there, number 4. Yeah, I thought it was a really, really cool movie. Like I say, I think it's really, really interesting. It's beautifully shot. Nicholas Winding Refn is one of the best visual directors in the world at the moment. And I mean, the story, I know a lot of people thought it was very simple and stuff, but I thought it was effective. It works. It got really twisted towards the end, and I enjoyed that because I'm a bit fucked in the head. So yeah, The Neon Demon, I'd recommend that one highly. Next up, I haven't watched this one yet, but this is another movie that everyone raves about. Night of the Comet. An 80s zombie movie. 2-disc from Arrow Video. Comes with a booklet. Presumably just with essays on the film. I haven't read it yet. There's the reverse cover. I'm probably going to watch this after I'm done making this video, just because, like I say, I fucking love zombie movies, man. I know that their zombie has become, a thing that has been, it's been a fad in recent years, and I mean, the problem is that most kind of zombie-based media isn't necessarily my preferred style of zombies. A lot of them in the serious zombie films now, they usually run, which I prefer walkers, and generally zombie movies are comedies now, which while it was funny when Shaun of the Dead did it, it's not really worked that well ever since, aside from 1 or 2 special occasions. But yeah, from what I've heard, Night of the Comet is a proper old school zombie movie, so I'll be checking that out tonight after I'm done with this, if I can stay awake. More zombies now. I've got another copy of Night of the Living Dead, zombie double feature, Flesh Creepers Volume 1, it says here. But it's Night of the Living Dead, basically, and Revenge of the Zombies, which I've never heard of. It's a very old film from what I've been able to ascertain, from the 40s, so it's not going to be anything like Night of the Living Dead. It's not going to follow that formula. But I mean, I've mentioned on several occasions how big a fan I am of Night of the Living Dead. Of the original film, this is the 4th copy I own. And I've got reasons why I've got all of them. It's because they're packed in with another movie, or I've got a colorized edition, I've got a Blu-ray, So it's not like I'm, just hoarding copies of Night of the Living Dead. It's just because it's a public domain film. It's, there are a lot of kind of interesting versions out there that you can pick up. I don't have the 30th anniversary version. I'm not too bothered about getting it either because it's terrible. We'll move on to another Blu-ray now. This is the Arrow Video Nightmare City Blu-ray. It comes with the DVD as well, so if that's your thing. So yeah, there's your disc art, and the art on the booklet is awesome. I love that. I don't know whether that's a new thing or it's been it's from an older thing, but there's the reversible sleeve, City of the Walking Dead, it's called on that one. But yeah, no, Nightmare City, this is a movie that kind of gets a bit of a bad rap sometimes, but I think it's a really fun movie, man. I think this is the first running zombie movie that there was ever made. I believe, don't quote me on that, and if you know otherwise, please do let me know. But yeah, no, this is a running zombie movie. It's objectively it's a pretty crappy movie, but it is pretty funny in places, and some of the effects are really good actually. So yeah, I like Nightmare City a lot. Basically, this plane load of zombies gets unleashed and they're causing mayhem in a TV studio and all sorts of crazy things like that. Pretty fun movie. One thing I've got to say though about this Arrow release is that it comes with 2 versions of the film, right? And they're it's the same movie, it's not different cuts or anything, but they come from different sources. And there's a message pops up at the start that the 2 sources that they have, one of them was damaged beyond repair in places, and they've included that, and the other one is slightly lower res. So I thought I'll check out the one that is higher res but has the damage, because I don't mind that sort of thing. I don't mind a shitty print. I can get on with that. But it was a really shitty print, man. I've got to say, for a Blu-ray, it was unacceptable, really. So I checked out the other print and really enjoyed it. I don't see why Arrow bothered putting on the fucked up print. Just put it out with the other one. It would have been a lot better. But yeah, that's Nightmare City from Arrow Video. We'll move on now. We've not got long to go. I'm only doing 20 now, as you know, per video. Odd Thomas. This was a pretty unique case, along with High Rise as well this year. This is a movie where I read the book way before I saw the movie. I didn't even know there was a movie until quite recently. But like I say, I read the book. It's got to be going on for 10 years ago now. Really good book. Great book by Dean Koontz. I would recommend that book highly. I wouldn't recommend the movie so much. I don't think they got the spirit of the book right. It's a fairly good movie in its own right, but it's nowhere near as effective as the book, I've got to say. Anton Yelchin's pretty cool in it, may rest in peace. Willem Dafoe is his usual sullen, quite funny, humorous self. But yeah, Odd Thomas, really, really great source material that didn't quite make it to the screen right. I feel like they got the character wrong and the story just wasn't executed as well. So yeah, that's Odd Thomas. Next up, Oldboy from Tartan Asia Extreme. This is the what's the director's name? Park Chan-wook. The action neo-noir movie about the guy who is imprisoned for 15 years with no reason and is given a week to find out why. But yeah, no, this is a really cool movie. My brother is a big fan of this movie. He's actually the one who mentioned it to me and said, check out Oldboy. Yeah, I thought this was a cool movie. I thought it was a little bit overlong in places. I feel like it could have gotten to the point a bit quicker. But once it did, I thought the twist was great. Although it does take a certain amount of suspension of disbelief to kind of get to the point where you could accept that it all sort of happened, but it is a cool twist. I really like it. The action in it's great. Really fun movie. I know a lot of people love this movie. Oldboy's really cool. Check it out if you haven't already. Like I say, my brother's a big fan of that one. He's a big action movie buff. That's sort of his genre. And yeah, no, like he loves Oldboy. Open Water. This is the last one I'm going to show. I haven't seen Open Water in years. I remember being fucking petrified of it back in the day, though. And I mean, yeah, it's about that couple who got left behind on a scuba diving trip, and no one knows what happens to them. So when they market this movie as being based on a true story, it's a pack of fucking lies. It's all speculation. But yeah, no, it's like I say, I can't really remember what happens in the movie except for being fucking terrified of it. So yeah, I'll check that out soon. That's Open Water. But yeah, that's the last one I'm going to show for this video. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Please check out my podcast, link in the description as always. Check out my wish list if you want to be really cool and order me something off of that. But other than that, thanks very much for watching. I promise to speak to you again as soon as possible. Peace out for now, guys.